So you remember the ice bucket challenge? What was that, like 2010, 2012-ish? The point of the original challenge was not to just dunk yourself in ice, but to donate to a charity that I believe was for ALS. Wasn't that what it was? Parkinson's? I think it was ALS. And, ALS is really bad. And I don't want to belittle anyone that has it. But the point of the challenge was to donate money. And if you have no money to donate, do the ice bucket challenge. And then by doing the ice bucket challenge, you would know what it's like to have uncontrollable spasms. And it became a peer pressure tactic on social media where people were bullying other people into doing this challenge. And that's where I started to say, hey, are you guys even paying attention? And I got mocked and ridiculed. It's all the same kind of people now that think that we need a No Kings protest. That same people will make fun of you for being a prepper. All right, man, every time that I've ended up needing this stuff and I already had it, I'm good. These same people were bullying others into doing this challenge, making fun of me for saying, hey, but wouldn't it be better if, rather than bullying people into doing the ice bucket, that you just, encourage them to donate or donate yourself, don't donate to the cause? And they said, why don't you? And I said, well, number one, I'm not interested in doing an ice bucket challenge. Number two, I don't donate monetarily to any charity. And they just couldn't deal with that. If you donate your time or your services, products, goods, things that people need, that's one thing. Doing something for someone that they need, that's cool. But throwing money at non-governmental organizations and or 501c whatever nonprofits that pay the salaries of the people that do the job. And yeah, sure, okay, it's a job, it needs done. I prefer to apply my personal charity individually, more directly. Oh boy, they just couldn't handle that. What the fuck is wrong with you, Rob? This is where people started getting together and doing these large group water dumps with the ice bucket. And it's like, you guys just keep doing this over and over again. And it's like, this doesn't make you better than anyone else, than, just to all do this thing. What it really was, as far as I can tell, was kind of like a practice run on finding out exactly how many people can be controlled and just how easily it can be done. Because Facebook has always been tracking all of their information like that. So they can tell very easily and then sell that to corporations or governments. The information on people's metadata talking about how gullible they might be, how easily led they might be. And you think, oh yeah, well, you could use that for marketing. Fast forward a little bit. Pokemon Go, remember that? Not officially, not a first-party Nintendo, it was a third-party licensed product. And most everybody got into it. Grandmas, kids, adults, teenagers, everybody. They're all just walking around like zombies on the phones, like we now all do. But what they were doing was going around hunting for Pokemon. Oh, this is like Pokemon in real life. Oh, yeah, that sounds like fun. That actually did sound like fun, right? But I said, hold up, wait a minute. Are you guys paying attention? You're going around showing the full Like you have to scan to look for Pokemon. There's a game inside the camera program on the Nintendo 3DS and possibly the DS as well. I don't know. That you have to use your camera and look around the room you're in, and it will populate things that you got to shoot at, and it will lead you around by where it populates them so that you get full coverage of the room. Bearing in mind that at the time that came out, it was an internet connected with an active online server setup system. It was an online handheld, meaning that anytime you're connected online, this information can be shared. Even if you don't know it, because you clicked on it, I accept, or you didn't read the thing in the back of the manual that says, by purchasing and activating this device, you agree to the following. So Pokemon Go had people with their cameras on, walking around, showing location, getting a good ground view that can be, you think about how AI puts stuff together nowadays, right? And what they were providing at that point was a whole bunch of camera data, if not location, if nothing else. But nowadays, we've got enough high-speed internet everywhere and 5G and all that on the cellular level that, it's fully possible to just, have them shits on all the time, secretly recording and uploading the stream of it to somewhere for someone to interpolate and extrapolate from. So you could take a whole bunch of people's camera footage of them all walking around doing the Pokemon, and the Pokemon's leading them in ways that get some glances and everything. Maybe the system can cause these people to all just kind of simultaneously point at the same house. Oh, what's a rare Pokemon at that old weird house? I don't know, man. Why is this fucking online Pokemon hunting camera game system thing telling you what direction to point your camera? Don't you decide what direction to point your camera? Think about it. Are you paying attention? And when the gyms and the locations of rarities and other such, and the fact that you got to go hold the corner down if you want to keep being the gym leader, which means you're always on that corner. Well, shit. They can tell people where to go and when to go. They can get them to use their camera and show the whole location, which can then be put together into a fully realized environment to explore virtually. This is just a way to harvest information about all of us. It's called surveillance. Oh, you're Rob, you're crazy and paranoid. You must be schizophrenic. Crazy. That's just why they wouldn't do that. Why would they do that? Did you know how many people they'd have to pay off to? Fast forward. We have very controversial politics in this country becoming a thing a few years after that. And what do you have? You have people who are being peer pressured by others into going and showing a display of their superior virtue with the ability to get them there, get them using their camera there, collecting all the data while manipulating them, driving them where they want them to go. Studies were done on Pokemon Go. It was pretty nefarious. And it's still a thing. So they can make people do all this stuff, and all of a sudden you got this major divide in the country. And they really start pushing it with this othering and just extreme rhetoric. And at first it just seemed like it was people, but after a while, if you know what to look for, you realize it's really not people. It's not organic. This is control. This is manipulation. And what it is that there is like an innate desire to succeed in most people's subconscious, so that even if they are spun around until they don't know up from down, left from right, good from bad, their compass has been spun, and then they get set where you mean for them to be, given a load of false information for their brain to automatically attempt to extrapolate from to gain some type of rationale or logic. And then given a target and the ability to manipulate them into going where and when you want them to. At which point they then think that they're choosing to go off on people over this divide. And because we are talking about instilling a complex, a type of mental aberration or disorder onto these people, with time and enough pile upon pile of stratified illogic and false information that they are basing their entire worldview on, they will come to the point where they have what they feel is an inescapable conclusion, which is that you have to take a direct action and it must be severe. This will happen. It's already happening. I've been warning that this would happen. And like all the other times, with all the other things, it's the same basic response. A couple of people, mind you, and nowadays even more than before, but not nearly enough yet, can get behind what I'm saying. So now, you see the pandemic, you see what they had people doing. Don't ever ask, how did the Nazis manage to take over? You watch something like that happen, and a bunch of people who thought they were on the right side enacted tyranny because they were manipulated into doing so. And then they chose to do so. Or maybe they thought they chose. So when people throw a term like non-player character or zombie around, by the literal technical definition, they're both correct. People who are not, doing and thinking according to their own actual volition, they just believe that they are. It's scripted. And by script, I don't mean like TV script. I mean like computer language script. It's like it's scripted. But they're just running a program. And that's not too far off. Programming. And the zombie thing, that's a person who's basically just had a mind-altering substance applied that causes them to be susceptible to suggestion. That's really all that is. I'm not talking about, eat brains, stumble around, decomposing. I'm just talking about the literal voodoo sense of it. That's a zombie. In the literal programming sense of it, that's a non-player character. That's not, a person determining where their, actions and everything are. As if you were playing a game, it's like, you're the player character. You are controlling a character that is you in the game. And you are the one making the decisions for you in the game. If they're not making decisions for them in the game, they're not playing. They're not a player. A person who is in the game is a character, but they're not a player. They're a non-player character. That's a literal definition of that. It's not an insult. It shouldn't be. It's just a term. And let's flash forward a little more, Summer of Love riots. How many times? By 2021, I deleted my Facebook. I was sick of the arguing. I was sick of people trying to do this peer pressure shit. And I was sick of being gaslit for being right. So I was like, you know what? Fuck all of you. And if you were one of those people that really wanted to push the shit in the pandemic, you see me in real life, walk on the other side of the street. I don't tend to try and be like that, but, at the time, that was certainly how I felt, and that's what I said, and, okay, cool. So then I saw the local No Kings protests today, and they were everywhere, all over the country. Trump isn't a king. He was voted in. That's the whole argument, is that he thinks that he was voted in the previous time and got cheated. And you know what? It's quite possible that was what happened. Although if that hadn't been allowed to pass, we wouldn't be with the current situation, which is probably in a better state than we would be otherwise. Because I don't know, after 2 terms of Trump, they might have been able to find a way to finagle the numbers again and get anyone else. And would that mean that we would then have, at that point, Harris or Biden or Hillary again? None of those are good. None of those are good. So we're dealing with what we got because that's the least worst option. And if you don't like the fact that it's the least worst option, cry into your pillow. Write in your diary. Compose a song about it. All these different signs, a million different signs. There's no single unified cause. It's just static. And there's infighting. I saw infighting on things like the Alex Stein video in Dallas where the organizers were trying to keep it peaceful. And some of the protesters on the left side were attacking their own event organizers. Just mentally unhinged. They are unstable. They are emotionally driven. They are misinformed, disinformed. And they're so worked up. Some of them are so worked up. It's dangerous. This is a threat. They are a threat. Some of them. The rest of them are too, in a way, because they have that banality of evil of doing nothing really to stop what they could. And because enough people that have been misinformed can find a way to force the government to do something or just decide to take action against others, and it would be completely unjustified, but they would be doing it anyway. All these people. And they had their own local version with the inflatable suit characters and people crossing the street to impede traffic and cops pulling through and counter protesters. Someone I knew was there, I was told, and that person had a religious themed sign. And I think it's pretty funny because, it's a Jesus thing. Jesus is king, they say. And they're like, no kings. And so they're like, Christ is king. The funny thing being that they're not specifically an anti-Christian protest per se, even though it is the force of the Antichrist in the world that drives them and guides them and orders them around. And, they're saying no kings and so, but when it really comes down to it, most of them don't know anything. And the best thing I heard, and I said it on the video with the drive-by, but I heard this. Somebody was talking on, I don't know, it was Philip Bonnie or someone else that was on Timcast a couple nights ago, saying that the problem with trying to argue with any of these people is that they're just repeating what they heard from somewhere else. The words of Anderson Cooper or the words of Don Lemon or, whoever. It could be Sam Cedar. It could be Cenk Uygur. It could be who knows. But these people are just regurgitating what they have watched as if it is their own opinion without any thought into the matter. They're just, well, yeah, but, and this is literally the definition of a talking point. When you just have a thing to say because you need to say this in regards to this, that is a talking point. You arm yourself with these for these arguments, discussions, and debates. However, when you don't have any basis for the knowledge, you just are stating this thing to be true. There's nothing to it. So that's pretty much what it is. What all of this whole movement is at this point is that these people are so befuddled. This is the literal definition of demoralization. I've said this many times. So I hope you've been listening. I hope you already understand. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's not that you have ruined their morale. It's that you have ruined their morality. Demoralize. By not having a fixed morality, you can become manipulated. You can use this emotional reaction here to turn your compass over here so that you're pointed in this direction and then you go off that way. You got people with signs saying, keep the pedos out of the White House. And you know what? That's a good idea. But then when you want to argue that and say, okay, so who's the pedo you're talking about? Is that Biden? Because that guy was showering with his daughter. And sniffing little kids and shit, and like all the different horror stories, and joebiden.info with all the pictures and video and examples. Oh, no. We're talking about pedophile protectors. Oh, the people that didn't. So like they're holding the Epstein list up. Oh, okay, gotcha. And so what about the people that are protecting Biden, who is sniffing kids and showering with his daughter, and all that? Oh, well, no. That's how it'll go. And even if they have a more strong, stringent political viewpoint, it's going to be a repetition of something that they heard or read, something someone else said. And oftentimes in a context of which they don't seem to realize they're being told what to think and how to feel, and then accepting it and going with it. This is the majority of the people participating in that type of activity. The minority of the people participating in that type of activity are militant. They have things that they are going to accomplish, and these other folks are just blindly running cover for them. They are useful innocents. And among the people in the minority that are militant, some of them are, true believers or whatever, and many of them are just going with what they're told. They are themselves, by getting vehement about things that they never really looked into or thought about, oftentimes it gets dismantled easily, and then rather than have an epiphany and try and learn something new, their worldview defender kicks in and they become violent and aggressive. Personal attacks and possibly physical, rather than, deal with the information that they need to assimilate. These people, strident for the cause, are useful idiots. See, the innocents are just there to protest, to be peaceful, to do all the things that they claim are happening, and run cover for these others. But of these others, there are people in that group that really are brainwashed and really just don't understand. So then, to the current. Not only am I, on my dad's side, a son of the American Revolution via his mother's side, but on my mom's dad's side, his mom moved out of Germany in the 19-teens, early 1920s, right about the time of Kristallnacht. They moved to America from Germany, and I believe maybe changed their names. My great-grandmother spoke Hebrew and Yiddish. So that would make me, at best, at most, 1/8 of some type of Judaic or Hebrew descent. Don't know whether she was, technically the German Jews, what was that, Ashkenaz? I don't know. I don't know much about it. Everybody that does know about it is deceased. But the things enough that I know that, okay, so there's maybe some dissent there, and they got out. The smart ones left early. The other ones that said, oh, no, it's fine, nothing's wrong, or this, no. Those are the people that got thrown into the ovens. So I don't like it when I hear other people getting called Nazis that are not Nazis and have a reason for that. It bugs me. It's an affront to anyone else who died, anyone who was a victim in the Holocaust, anyone who suffered during the Third Reich's reign of Germany and all of Europe, or whatever they were going for. It's an affront to those victims to call someone you disagree with a literal Nazi. Meanwhile, supporting a country whose military is descended of a group who never stopped being OG Nazis from World War II. The Ukrainian military and the government turned on Stalin and joined with Hitler, and they never gave it up. All the symbology that they use, all of the things that they adorn themselves with in that military of that country to fight against Russia is Nazi symbolism. Actual Nazis. They support actual Nazis while calling people who are not Nazis, Nazis, which is an affront to the victims of actual literal Nazis. And those people want to get upset about whatever that young Republican group chat was about, which I haven't really read it, and I don't know much about it, so I can't really draw conclusions. But apparently it was them cracking jokes or whatever, for the most part. And you know what? Yeah, it's raw. It's crazy. It's not necessarily illegal. Does it poorly represent? Certainly. Certainly, yes, it does. But is it as bad as calling people who aren't Nazis, Nazis? Given what Nazis have actually done to people, the real history that they just obviously glance over and don't think about because it's an inconvenient truth. But they want to get upset about people cracking jokes in a text message. It's offensive to them. Is it offensive to the people that they're talking about? Maybe those people should speak up. I don't know. That's what I see going on right now. It's pretty wild. It's pretty ridiculous. A lot of people are sick in the head. They are victims of manipulation. But history thus far has shown that this type of brainwashing and manipulation causes permanent mental disability, leaving these people a threat to society. I don't know how we're going to get out of that one and keep it civil. That's an ironic term. I don't know. Maybe somebody will act out and Trump will have an excuse to invoke the Insurrection Act and things will just get. What's going to happen is, because you hear the other day, Don Lemon went on some podcast and urged people of color in America, especially in cities, to strap up and be prepared to go against federal agents if they arrive in their neighborhoods. If federal agents get murked by a bunch of neighborhood people, the Insurrection Act will be declared and it will be party time in those towns. I don't think anybody really wants that, but that's where it's being pushed to, because again, they seem to have figured out the key to getting most of these people to just think what they want them to think, feel how they want them to feel, go where they want them to go, and do what they want them to do. And they're doing it. I don't think anything major happened here today, thankfully. There are other places that, I don't know, things might have gotten rowdier or worse. And you know what? There might have been some idiot things happen here and they just didn't get reported to the police. Although I got to say, I kind of don't think the West Burlington police or the Des Moines County sheriffs would particularly care for that type of activity. And I think that there would be consequences, even if maybe the local prosecutor might not decide to charge them. I don't know. I'm going to leave it at that. A lot of people are very sick. There may not be a cure for that sickness, if you follow. Think critically, stay self-aware, watch your six.